This is a video of my second ever canoe trip and the first one in my brand new Swift Keewaydin 15 canoe that I had picked up just an hour before at the store. Day one was short because I started mid-afternoon and I didn't shoot any video on the way to the first campsite because I was having too much fun with the new canoe. Portage, and yes, it is called a portage because this is Canada, is when you have to get out and carry the canoe between two bodies of water. The canoe only weighs 27 pounds because it's made out of carbon fiber, which helps a lot. And on this trip, I brought my new day pack that had about 13 pounds of gear in it, plus the canoe pack, which had about 30 pounds of gear. So when I carried everything all at once, I had about 75 pounds of gear on me. But in this instance, I'm doing a double carry where I take the canoe and the light pack and then make a return trip for the heavier pack, a double carry. speed things up a little bit. There was a lot of this creek passage that I'm not showing. Met a young couple at the second portage who were also on one of their first canoe trips.
Thank you.
If you look off to the left at that large tree, you can see the orange campsite signs. And there was somebody camped there, which was kind of unusual. Most of the campsites I'd passed had been empty. At the third portage of the day coming into view, you never know what you're going to find, if it's going to be all granite and sharp rocks or nice and sandy. Looks like a nice sandy landing from here. When I got up to it, I decided to slip the boat in sideways so I could step straight onto the shore. After this portage, I was in just a narrow, small part of Burnt Island Lake, which is quite a large lake. Spotted a loon off to the right side that was much closer than it looks in the camera. This is actually an island straight in front of the boat. I'm going to pass down the narrows on the left side. Now I'm starting to get my first views of the large section of Burnt Island Lake. I didn't know it at the time, but the night's campsite is just coming into view on the left. I had initially planned to just pull over and have lunch, take a break, but I found that it was so nice I decided to stay. That's a shelf of solid Canadian granite in view right there. Runs straight down at the same angle into that crystal clear water. I'm trying to be real careful as I snug the canoe up onto the rock. I didn't want to scratch the bottom of my new canoe. This is the view looking back at the island that leads into Burnt Island Lake. The narrows I crossed through were just on the right. After I got firewood, got camp all set up, I decided to go for a late afternoon paddle and just look around. And so now I'm going back through those same narrows, but in the opposite direction. I circumnavigated the island, keeping it on my left side, and am now going back through the opposite narrows, heading back into Burn Island Lake again. You can just start to see three canoes coming into view on the left. A large group of campers showed up and took the campsite on the island. They were quite noisy throughout the afternoon and evening, but they quieted right down when the sun went down. From my campsite on the opposite shore, I could hear running water, like a small waterfall. And so one of the things I was doing was looking for the source of the water. And what I found were several small springs that were trickling down, and I'm heading in to investigate one of them here. I also wanted to check out some of the campsites on the other shore just for future reference. I didn't like this one. It was too dark, too enclosed.
Not for me. Got another campsite. A little ways down from the last one.
This campsite looked much more promising. Nice open area, looked like some logs for sitting around the fire pit. Very nice. This campsite was very intriguing being out on that point. It would be great in the summer when the sun was hot, but too enclosed now.
The bay here.
And at this point, I've decided to head back across the lake and start working my way back to camp.
Okay, coming up on that first, the narrows, the room. What you doing, buddy?
Just off to the left is another island, and the narrows between them separate the one large section of Burn Island Lake from the other large section.
Whoa. Around that corner. Looks like smoke.
As I was rounding the turn, I could smell smoke from a campfire coming from somewhere up ahead. And that is a campsite coming into view on the left, and there was somebody camped there. And there you can just see the sign for that campsite. Now I'm going to paddle across the open section and get back onto the same shore where I had my camp. Made landfall on the far shore at this huge granite outcropping with these large trees that had fallen.
Camp ought to be around this.
And now my camp is just coming into view.
Okay.
After I got back to camp, made some dinner, sat around, relaxed, lit the fire, get up in the middle of the night to find it was absolutely still with a nearly full moon. And a little bit later in the morning, I packed up camp and headed on back. Ran into some stiff headwinds, didn't do any filming on the way out, but it was a good trip.
Goodbye.